So what does a perfect essay look like? What is in a perfect essay? Most important thing is your argument. It has to be really, really clear. Number one, they have to know, the reader has to know what your argument is. Then it has to be nuanced or sophisticated. It can't be too simplistic. So there's a bit of a tension there. It needs to be very, very clear what your argument is, but it can't be an extremely one-sided argument, because this is an essay. We're supposed to discuss complicated things, especially in politics, where the point of politics is there is no answer. Because if there was an answer, then it wouldn't be political. We would just do it. We would just know the answer to what the tax rate should be, or who should be allowed to vote. If there was a right answer, then we wouldn't have politics. So we need counter arguments. And then it also needs to be persuasive, okay? So it's all very well having a really clear argument. It's also all very well having a clear argument that is detailed and has counter arguments. But if it's really not persuasive because there's no evidence at all, so why would we trust you? Why would we believe you? Then it's not going to be a very good essay. And in order to do those things, you have to have your argument ordered in a thoughtful and logical manner, okay? Because it could be a really good argument, but if it's all over the place in terms of the steps and the logical steps in the argument, then people are not likely to follow you, and they're therefore not likely to be very persuaded by the argument. Already slightly mentioned this in terms of persuasive, but you cannot persuade someone unless you give them some reasons, you give them some evidence. And that can be from text, or it can be from events. We use the word empirical, but what that just means is things that have actually happened, things we can really observe. If you're using text, we'll talk more about this, but the most important thing is not to do what a lot of people do, which is just say, okay, well, John Locke said this, and therefore it's true, or therefore you should believe me. Because it doesn't matter how clever someone is, or how good an academic they are, or a philosopher they are, everyone says things that are wrong, especially in politics, where there is no such thing as right or wrong. So if you say John Locke said this, then you have to say why that argument is persuasive. Why should we believe John Locke? So it's very different to say, let's invent an academic called Susan Bloggs. It's very different to say, we should pay 50% tax because Susan Bloggs says so. That's very different to, we should pay 50% tax because Susan Blogg has done a study that took her 10 years, and she performed lots and lots of statistical tests. And as a result of those tests, she has shown that a 50% tax rate increases quality of life for residents of the 30 countries she studied. Okay, so that you're still using text, you're still saying Susan Blogg says this, but you're really explaining why we should trust Susan Blogg. She's done a big study, she's used various methods, she's looked at lots of countries, and she's come to this conclusion. Okay, so you can use text, but just be a bit careful. Then really a perfect John Locke essay, it can be very brief, but they will summarize the main positions in the relevant literature.